I want to start this video by thanking God for all the things that have developed in the course of a few months over my life. He's always providing, and he's always making sure that no matter what I think the situation is at the time, that there's clarification in the end, and that I have no real reason to worry. I have nothing to be afraid of except the Lord. But fear of the Lord is loving the Lord enough to know there are consequences for your behaviors. And then you hold yourself accountable every time that you actively, willingly participate in sin. Now, in Genesis 3, the serpent spoke to Eve and asked, "Did God say that you couldn't eat of the fruit in the garden?" Eve said, "We can eat of all of the fruit except the tree in the center. And if we touch the fruit, we will surely die." Or even if we touch the fruit, we will surely die. Satan says, "No, you will be like God. You will know good and evil." Now, Adam and Eve had already been exposed to good. And I've said this before in a previous video. But Adam and Eve had been exposed to good their entire creation. Because the Bible specifically says over and over again, at the end of all creation, God saw that it was good. God saw that it was good. God saw that it was good. Now, Eve listens. She obliges. She eats the fruit. She doesn't die. Right? She gives it to her husband. It says she gives it to her husband. He eats of the fruit. He doesn't die. Instantly, I should say. But what they've just done is they've committed a sin that now separates them from God. When God comes, it says God was walking through the garden. They realized that they were naked. They were ashamed in their nakedness, so they clothed themselves with fig leaves or some type of leaf, whatever. That shows that our human bodies have some degree of privacy that we need to keep if we live in a sinful world, because they introduced sin into the garden by eating the fruit. That's why it doesn't matter what type of tree or what type of fruit, because ultimately the act is what God was telling them not to do, not the subject of the act. You know what I mean? So now they feel ashamed. I hope that you all hold yourself to a higher standard in modesty. And I truly mean this, because more and more as time progresses, people are becoming more comfortable in showing more of themselves. But if these two individuals that were created in the beginning felt ashamed to be naked in front of each other, and they were spouses, and the woman came from the man, so in essence, they were one flesh. Well, in two senses, they were one flesh, because they were married under the covenant of God, and she was physically taken from him. If they felt shame towards one another being naked, why have we become so hardened in our hearts to want to express ourselves, showing ourselves to strangers? There's plenty of young women and young men on the internet who have accounts for websites. I don't want to name the websites, because if there's a younger audience that sees this, I don't want them to go into digging. But where they advocate their bodies over the character of who they are. All right. You should be more than a body. You deserve that, because you're a human and you have more value than an animal. Animals don't wear clothes. If we were designed to just be out here willy-nilly going, doing whatever we wanted, because that's in essence what Satan was telling Eve. Like, do you want to eat of the fruit? Because if you want to, you can. In essence, you have a free will. Yeah, God said something, but it's right there. You can just go get it, Now, I'm gonna pivot off of this real quick. And just to go into another conversation about social media and media influences in general, music, movies, television. If Satan exists, I believe so. But for the people that don't, right? If there's a biblical like character named Satan, Lucifer, whatever one you prefer, and it gives a description. He was a liar from the beginning. He's a deceiver. Right? And the culture that produces media for us to consume. First of all, somebody has to pay for these things, and these movies cost millions and millions of dollars. So now we know the average Joe isn't paying for these movies. We know that fiction is, in essence, a lie. Fiction is like you're creating a story of pretend, fantasy, sci-fi. All of these are lies, but we're taking it in as a consumer. We're just watching it for entertainment purposes. We listen to these lyrics, debaucherous lyrics, by the way, whether they're about killing, doing drugs, being hoes, whatever. Intaking this music, it's going into our subconscious because we're listening to the lyrics probably multiple times in a week or a month or a year. We're learning the lyrics. So now they're in our brain, right? They're creating an attitude for how we should behave. They're creating an atmosphere where now everything that they give us is normalized. When we used to have movies about aliens, we used to be like, what if? And then a few years ago when they said, oh yeah, we've recovered alien aircraft, there was not nearly as much uproar as there would have been if we had never been given the idea of extraterrestrial through fictional movies. Now, and I say fictional because the idea of these movies is fictional, like the movie E.T. But in essence, if they want to deceive you, first they have to suppress you to the truth. They want to give you a little bit, and then expose you to the real deal. If Satan is this lion who seeks to devour these people who are far from God, and we know that there's more people far from God than who believe, because there's a world population where 3 of the biggest religions, 2 of them have to be false if Christianity is true. So those 2 out of the 3 have a higher population of people than the 1. And then there's other people outside of that scope who either don't believe in anything or believe in different religions outside of those 3. Nonetheless, if Satan is to be the little g God of this world, there is a goal in everything that we're given. Every step of our lives, we're being indoctrinated to believe something. The theory of evolution doesn't make sense because we cannot argue change of kind. The evidence to support this gender identity, come on. Pedophilia will never make sense, ever. But you see that they're adding that to the alphabet community, is what I'll say, to keep it, And then, or they're trying to. I won't put that on them, but they're trying to. The idea of being promiscuous is in every movie. Adultery, every romantic movie. I want y'all to think about this. Every romantic movie has a form of either adultery, because like The Best of Me used to be one of my favorite love movies. The Best of Me, it's these 2 teenagers, they fall in love, they're in different predicaments, one's poor, one's rich, whatever. They have to split because one goes to jail, whatever. They meet up later in life. They fall in love again. They do. But they show you that the woman was married with children when she decided to link back up with this man and do the do. So, and then The Notebook, one of the most famous of all, same story. The woman was married or engaged, saw her first love, rekindled the relationship, did the do. Buddy pulled up on him. You know what I'm saying? Like, they promote these ideas that make us suppressed to problems that are very real. If you were married and your spouse was cheating on you, you would not feel as good as you would feel after watching The Notebook, first of all. All right, let's keep it a buck. So, they give you that. Then other movies, they promote gang violence. They promote lying in some way, theft in some way. They promote, like, normal human behavior, right? Like, because everybody does these things. So when they put it in these movies, it's nothing new. Like, to some degree. Yeah, they might have robbed a bank, but if you stole gum from a grocery store, you're both thieves. Like, if you steal, you are a thief. So, they make it grandiose. But now, what they're doing in the culture, when they're producing films, they're always trying to predict the future now. Now they're ramping up for a time to come. Netflix dropped a movie recently. I can't think of what it's called. Leave the World Behind. That's it. And it shows that if all of our technology in the United States was cut off, essentially we'd have to rely on every other citizen, like regular people, because elites or whatever, they would all have their little bunker somewhere, hunker down. But the regular day-to-day people. Now, these movies promote strife between common folk, when in reality, we should be the most banded together country. Like, regular citizens should feel the most safe with one another in America. And the fact that we don't is because they've been promoting racism since the freedom of African Americans. Now, what's very unfortunate to me is, if we are all humans, and we can prove that we are all humans through our DNA, the only factor that changes now is features, physical features and characteristics. If some people can be light and dark skin in the same family, light skin being white, dark skin being black, and they can come together and they can have children in the middle, that proves that they're not different species